So we're joined all the way from Houston, Texas, by my friend Antonio Smith, founder of Density 6 AI, MexitNews.com, several other ventures he's got his hands in, and we'll have him tell us about it. We thank you so much for joining us. This is our entrepreneurship class. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School of all young men, and we are recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools, Madison Central High School, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
Well, thank you, man.
I lost you there for a second. That's fine. Now,
Okay, no, my bad. My VPN kicked on and it kicked me off, so I'm back now.
okay, we're good. But again, we thank you so much for joining us. Now, obviously, we want to talk about all your super cool businesses because you really are on the
Sure.
cutting edge of some of the coolest
Yes.
technology that I've ever even heard of. But just give us a little background. You're originally from Houston, went to Houston Christian University, which is made some noise in basketball this year. Been to got to Division 1
Mhm.
recently. But your degrees are in Christianity and in theological studies. So obviously, you
Yeah.
got theologian based degrees and you're in an AI space now. So just talk about what inspired those degrees and how you kind of transferred into this area.
Yeah, for sure. So what I said first before I got cut off was thank you to all the students who have me, and plus Mr. Greg, thank you as well. And my path to theology. So I have my minor in biblical languages. I have my bachelor's in theology, Christianity, and my master's of arts in theological studies. I'm a Paulinian scholar, all the Paul's writings scholar,
Wow.
and of course I do Greek and Hebrew like I do English. So, but it didn't start that way. I wanted to know the truth. That's a theme for me that I always want to know. What's the truth? And then when I went from the truth, pastor couldn't answer, and then I went to school. School couldn't answer, so then I went to the, and I wound up figuring out that truth is this elusive thing that I just love to find out so much. I just love it. Now I've been doing artificial intelligence since 2012, so I'm lucky per se that now it's a big thing. But I was here since 2012, learning it and doing it and self-taught. Today, my company does all sorts of stuff. I'm a leader in quantum, so I have quantum encryption, quantum internet. One of the people there. In some cases, I build weapons to make things better for American soldiers. In other cases, I do all sorts of stuff. I'm trying not to violate any NDAs and stuff, but just know that I have 270 patents being filed right now as we speak.
Wow. Wow,
Yes,
that's
sir.
incredible. And also I've just discovered your Mexit News, which is very, very interesting. And I will encourage everybody to
Absolutely.
to read some of the stuff you have going on there, stuff that had no idea that was going on in the AI world. So Density Six,
Yeah.
you're there in Houston, and you've got on your website a lot. I know you're building your website, but you have a lot of things
Mhm.
that you've posted. You talk about robotics, you talk about how AI
Yep.
is going to really work together with
Sure.
humans. And you got on the front end of this, and so just tell us is what the services you guys have, and we're all and what industries you're going to touch because it really is some super cool stuff.
Yeah, it sure is. So that's great. So, and I'm so glad I get to talk to students about this. So, in my particular case, I go from extreme tech and then even cross over to where tech meets spirituality as well. And one of those things that I have a patent for is I forget exactly what it's called, but somewhere in Texas, I won't say where right now, I've bought a bunch of acres of land and I'm building what is called D6 Nova Prime. So it
Wow.
looks like a new type of building from the future, from the ground up. Inside of this, there's intergalactical things that we do to have humans communicate with species that may come to the planet or not, and also things that allow humans to communicate with sentient life, such as plants, lettuce, cabbage, etc. And most importantly, and more accurately to your question, we are working on when the church catches up and starts doing artificial intelligence, then there is a link, a bi-directional link between what humans can do and what AI can do, to where AI can become pastors and help pastors along the
Wow.
way as well. Yeah. So imagine building a robot, which robotics, and then giving that robot sentient life, and then teaching it the same degrees I just went to and did. So there you go. That's just the nerd stuff right there, man. But it's a multi-billion-dollar company. So just for everybody listening, I came from homeless 5 to 15, homeless, absolutely nothing. My degrees are in theology, but my skill sets and my gifts are inventing things. So what a
Wow.
conglomerate right there.
That's incredible. Now, one thing I like talking about with everybody in the tech space is, especially in, I'm a little bit older than you, but in our generations, we were really pushed on if you if you don't have a degree, you're not going to have the status,
Mhm.
and that's, just go straight to college because a degree is all that matters. But I think we're
Fair
starting to
enough.
understand that, especially in the tech area, you don't necessarily need that degree. Now, the certifications are going to be needed and the experience is going to be needed. But I have a few students in here with me now that are in our IT program. They're very interested in the
Mhm.
tech space. And I'm not trying to tell them to not go to college, but if this is something they wanted to get into, even as a side hustle out of high school, there's a lot of money to be made with these skills without really having a college degree.
Absolutely. Mr. Greg probably shouldn't tell you all this, but I am telling all of you, don't go to college. It's a waste of time. 100%. It's a waste of time on the value of its return on investment. It's the future is going to be how well do you use artificial intelligence to do whatever you're doing. And all big companies like me and Google, et cetera, aren't even accepting college degrees. In fact, my particular company don't even do background checks because I believe people deserve second chances. I'm a black man in America, so that kind of makes sense right there. As far as your college degree goes, I didn't go to college till I was 30 years old. And so
Oh,
I didn't go
wow.
to college till I was
So
30.
we are
Yeah.
about the same age
So
then. Yeah.
yeah. I'm just like, yeah. So I didn't go to college at all. And I didn't become a millionaire until I was into 2016. So I went to college at 30, and somewhere right under undergrad, somewhere right before I was to graduate, no, it was right after graduation. I became a millionaire, and then I went to go do my master's. And that's when I found out my CPA told me I was a millionaire. I was like, well, I'm not going to do anything past the master's because, it's a waste of time and stuff like that. So you do not need a college degree. What you need is persistence and to move before you're ready. A lot of people try to figure things out before they move. That is completely unnecessary. The more you try to figure things out, you're going to end up working for somebody like me who ran forward and figured it out along on the way. So my advice to you is if you know 2% of the way, go. All you need is 2% information, enough not to die, because when you move forward, the rest will be shown to you. You're going to get punched in the face anyway. And winning teaches you nothing but how to be superstitious. If you superstitious, arrogant, and lazy is what winning teaches you. Losing teaches you how to be a genius, how to be brilliant, right? And how all these other things. So there you go.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, I have a variety of business concepts in this class. I know a couple of them have been in tech, but we have them that want to get into transportation, some that want to get into personal training,
Sweet.
clothing lines. But AI skills and software skills are going to be necessary for all of that. And then, like you said, even for those areas. And again, I'm not discouraging anybody to not go to college, but if you have an idea right now, you can get the training in
Right.
high school or maybe some community college, get those certifications, and get the ball rolling because because we need more and more small businesses, and we need especially more black small businesses.
Sure. For sure. And then, and I won't retract my statement, but I'll redact. Big words, but I'll do a little redaction on my statement. If you want to be a PhD, oh, not a PhD. If you want to be a medical doctor, a surgeon, a lawyer, these are things you need to go to college for, because that has to happen that way. And that's just the way it is until that changes, which I don't see it changing in my lifetime, that's just what it's going to be. So unless you're having some sort of specialized speciality in a field that is general, like a doctor, but you want to be a brain surgeon, then you need college for that. Now, for the rest of you, that should not be your goal. Your goal should be how to generate money versus how to make money. Moving forward, the wealth gap is going to continue to get higher. It just is what it is. Their wages are not going to catch up with inflation. It just is what it is. Someone with there's many things that have to change, and it's not going to happen. Don't count on that. Don't count on your government to help you. Count on being a great help to your government. Those are two different things. You be a money generator and start focusing on how can I create income producing assets that give me $250,000 coming in, and then take that 250,000 and use that as a mitigation of risk, so you can do all those things you want to do. Every dream you have will be protected by cash flow. So anyway, there you go. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
and
drop as
along
much
those
as I
lines, I'm
can.
glad you mentioned that because along those lines, I have all teenagers here, and obviously I was a teenager too, and you were a teenager too, and these that are
Yep.
in the tech, they're really interested in the gaming and the gaming stuff, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of cool to make.
Perfect.
You can make some money in the games, but where the real money is going to
Sure.
be in tech and AI is going to be in the cybersecurity field, the finance field,
Yep.
the health informatics field. So maybe the stuff that may
Sure.
not be as sexy and cool, but things that are going to be changing with the industry. So a challenge that I know all of us have is that when you're 16, 17 years old, it's hard to get out of
Yep.
that 16, 17-year-old mindset. And look, I get it completely. It's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But it's, for these kids to start thinking future, saying, when I'm 24, 25 years old, this is what's going to be in demand, to start developing those ideas now. So that way you're not, trying to sell your product to high school kids as opposed to multi-million dollar corporations.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So I homeschool my children. My oldest is six, so 16, 12, and 7, and the little girl is 7. And but the 7-year-old is in high school because I only got
Oh,
three
wow.
students. So she's taking algebra this morning. So she's taking algebra, and
Wow.
then an algebra 2, and somewhere by the end of the year she'll be finished with calculus. So they're all scheduled to graduate either end of this year or early next year. The reason I'm bringing that up is to a point that you just said. Get all that education out the way. Get all that out the way. All the reading, all the writing, all the math, get it out the way, because you're going to have a successful life. You're going to have an enjoyable life when you get past general information and do these specific things that are myopic. A $22 word means a narrow view. These things that specialize at something, which takes us back to the video games now. Everything that Mr. Greg just said, you should absolutely do that. And then include somebody's got to hold this storage space. So you might want to get into cloud infrastructure as fast as possible. And when he says he brought up cybersecurity, then you might want to partner with someone in cybersecurity or get in cloud structure as fast as possible with cybersecurity expertise. Either way, all 99% of all the data that has ever existed on planet Earth was created last year. That's
Yeah.
insane when you think about that. Somebody's holding that data. The difference between billionaires and millionaires is millionaires are good in the industry, billionaires control an industry. So right now, all of you just get focused, move forward, move before you're ready. The second time that came back up naturally. Uh, Obviously, continue to listen to Mr. Greg and the things he's doing, because in order to get connected to a lot of people, you kind of got to be likable. People are going to love and promote and give pay raises and opportunities to people who they like. Nobody is going to promote you or work with you if they don't like you. So get your character together, because your character, if your talent is better than your character, you're going to lose. It just is what it is. If you don't have integrity, wealthy people are not going to surround themselves with you. You're going to lose opportunities. If you're black, brown, or any marginalized community, 100%, you're at some sort of systemic disadvantage. Okay, so what? That's the deal. It's already there. Nothing about that. So move forward. Have your integrity ready. Find mentors. Increase your network. Read books and figure out the path, because however you want to do that, it will happen. But there is no excuse There is certainly oppression, but you don't have to vibrate at that frequency.
I'm glad you said that too, because we had Dante Lee back in October speak to this group, and he said the exact same thing. He goes, y'all have time doing all that TikTok, but why if you just took 10, 15 minutes a day to read something important, to read something positive, it's amazing how your mindset changes. Now, a couple things I want to hit on
Absolutely.
before I get to their questions is you mentioned about
Sure.
people liking you and building your network. And I know I can
Yep.
speak for every teacher that will see this later. One of the biggest challenges we have with today's teenagers is it's so hard to get them to speak and to be articulate and to sell themselves, to
Yep.
sell products, to get up in front of people and talk. And look, I know it can be scary. I know it can make you nervous, but that skill can take you so far in business. It is unbelievable because you can have a great concept, you can have a great system, you can have great customer service, but if you can't get up and
Yep.
sell it, you cannot reach customers. So, how important is it to get comfortable speaking in order to have people listen to you?
Well, Mr. Greg, you just brought up the most important thing that's been on this call so far. The number one skill set that you can have, Warren Buffett even echoes the sentiment, is communication. 100%. If you cannot communicate, forget you can't sell anything. One, communication leads to all the wealth you're ever going to give. Now let's tie in communication into selling. The number one job ever on the planet, the number one source of income ever on the planet will always be sales. As a matter of
Yep.
fact, we could push that further in any capitalistic society or any society, regardless, whether it be capitalistic, Marxism, it doesn't matter. There is no money generated without a sale. All money flows from an initial sale. So when
Yep.
you know how to communicate and when you master how to sell, and then when you can master how to communicate and people don't feel like they're being sold, like what Mr. Greg is doing during this podcast right now, then you're going to be very wealthy, very successful. And when I say wealthy, it doesn't always mean amount of money. Wealthy, Grant Cardone describes wealth as the difference between my potential and my reality. So wealth is how fast am I closing this gap? Here's my potential. Here is my reality where I'm at. I'm in the hood. My potential is I could be president of the United States or whatever. And there's a gap. And wealth is how fast can I close that gap? That's really what wealthy people mean by being wealthy. How fast can I close the gap between my potential and my reality?
Absolutely. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I get to their questions, and I've got some really good ones. They're
Sure.
still handing is your philanthropy there in
Yep.
the Southeast Texas area has been
Yep.
amazing that I was reading about. You've done a lot of work there
Thank
with the
you.
prison system in South Texas,
Yep.
and you see young men and women that are at their lowest point. And I'll be the first
Yep.
person to tell you there are tons of wrongfully imprisoned people in the United States just for little
Sure.
minute, silly things. But some people have
Yep.
really made some terrible decisions and terrible mistakes. And
Yep.
one thing I always say is kids are so influenced by social media, so influenced by the things they see on TikTok and YouTube and these rappers that want to glorify that lifestyle like it's cool to be I always say I'll never understand why it's cool to be a convict. But as somebody that has spent time with incarcerated young men and women, what have you seen that is just something that is not shown as the reality of that life because it is meant to break you and it is meant to just absolutely tear you apart from the inside?
Yeah, I actually have intimate insight here. Back up just for 1 second. Before we had social media, what we had was MTV and BET. That was us being brainwashed social media like. So y'all are being brainwashed by social media, TikTok, but we were being brainwashed by MTV and BET. So MTV and BET was telling us to be a singer and a rapper, do cocaine and all sorts
Yo,
of
MTV
stuff.
Raps.
Like yeah, exactly. We went through that. So the reason I wanted to bring it up because while you teenagers are dealing with brainwashing and social media, I'm not so remiss to know that we were being brainwashed by cable TV. Same energy, it's just morphed into something more spectacularly technologically sound. My father is on his 23rd year in prison right now, so we talk every day. Here's what I know. I know that his definition of happiness has had to be altered. I know that he calls so they call their sales, at least in Texas, a cubicle is what they call it. And I know that they use different words. And I know that so there's a scripture in the Bible, not to get religious here, but it says, Paul says, I learned to be a base and I learned to be a bond, which means I've learned to ball out of control and I've learned how to be poor. Well, when you're in prison, it's always poor. So your level of a base, your level of prosperity is, do I have an extra set of noodles? And let me tell y'all, this is very intimate. My father's on his 23rd year right now. He's up for parole in 2 years. Do not be born on this planet with the miraculous way you could have been born, and you waste your life to have a highlight of your life being noodles. That is unnecessary. I'm not telling you that's a bad thing. If you were in some country and that's okay, I get that, but that's not where you are, and that's not what you have to do. So don't relegate your life to go down so far to where an extra, and then call them noodles, I call them soups. An extra soup is good for you. Be grateful for everything you have in front of you, but do not let the necessary be necessary. And now you're celebrating over noodles because that's all you can achieve in your life. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, 95% of the people we see posing on social media like they're gangbangers are just selling you a fake facade that is meant to brainwash you, and it really is such a sad tale of so many young men and women that have not realize their potential. Now, I don't see
Absolutely.
anybody in the room with me right now going down that path, but I just think that's something that always has to be said and always has to be
For
reminded of
sure.
why we have to protect our young black men and our young people in general because we're losing too
Yeah.
many to the street. Too many young people are dying in the streets, and it's really a sad thing to see when so much potential and so much talent could be used for so many other things for our entire society. Well, I do have some questions from these
Yeah.
young men, and these are
Sure.
really good. I did not coach these at all. These are all really deep, so I like these.
Sweet. Sweet.
First one is Edward Flowers. He's interested in the tech thing, but he also wants to be a pastor. And he asked,
Okay.
"How has the Bible helped you in your business endeavors?"
It's a great Mr. Flowers, right? Edward Flowers, you said?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, Edward Flowers, Bible's helped me a lot. Before I get to that, when you start pastoring or becoming a preacher of any, be yourself. When I first started, I started in 2008. So I've been doing it that long. So I started in 2008, whatever, however, 8 to 25 is, whatever that is. And I've been pastoring since 2011. So be yourself. I pastor like a businessman because my gift is business. I think that way. And I stack to my weakness, a number two, that has insane amounts of empathy. So when I should be the shepherd pastor, I say, all right, well, go talk to this person because they can help you. You have to be yourself because we're all one body and my fingers don't work like yours. How the Bible has blessed me, well, it the Bible made me change my tone. And it's not the scriptures per se. It's when I went to college, there's so many different theologies, but you can't say one of them's wrong because they're all drawn from the Bible. And that's what made me so I've learned to keep my theology but change my tone. Remember, tone will get you shot or tone will get you praised. It's up to you to choose which one, right? So that's what the Bible has done for me in business. It's allowed me to change my tone with people. So hopefully that's a good answer. But it's the realest answer I got for you. That's exactly what it's done. I'm very tactically empathetic when it comes to business due to the Bible. And I'm very empathetic for other religions too. I know the Quran and all sorts of stuff, and I talk to people all the time because of that, because of my background in the Bible.
Yeah, and they're actually winding down Ramadan right now. And I always say, get you a Muslim friend to get some of those Ramadan meals. That's some of the best food you ever have in your life. This
Absolutely, it's crazy. It is. Most people who donate to me are Muslims, so there you
Man, I'm
go.
telling you, they always have extra plates for you. This is Christopher
Yep,
Mitchell. He is one of our basketball players here, and he asked,
sweet.
"What is the hardest task you've had to overtake as being a business owner?"
Two of them. Number one is believing that I deserve to be a millionaire. It's the hardest thing I ever had to do. And getting $1 million wasn't hard at all. I mean, to be honest with you, if you get $2,000 product, you sell it to 500 people, there you go. Or if you get just inverse the number, right? You get a $500 product and you sell it to 2,000 people. Either way, getting $1 million is not hard at all, but believing that who grew up with a crackhead mother, no disrespect, I mean, God bless my mother, she sleeps with ancestors now, and a crackhead father who went to prison. So when you think about these two things, there's nothing about me that should ever have been a millionaire. I couldn't even afford to go across the city limits. Now I can go across, I'm in the process of buying a private jet and blah, blah, blah. So I can go across the world, the hemisphere, believing that I deserved $1 million was the hardest battle I ever had to face. The second hardest battle I had to face was the integrity problem, saying thank you. And I can't stress this enough to y'all. I'm so much of a lion. Let's go get it. I got this Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality. Jordan, LeBron James. I'm dunking over everybody. All y'all can get it. Get down and look down because I'm from the hood. The problem with that is, Mr. Greg, I don't say thank you. I just move on to the next task. So now you got assistants. Like I'm not achieving this stuff by myself. You got people who did the visual presentation, people who did the proofreading, people who shot the emails, the sales team. And I'm like, let's go to the next task. And what I end up doing very early around 2012 in my career was alienating the Christopher Mitchells and the Edward Flowers, who notice how I'm remembering y'all name, by the way. That's what rich people do, right? So notice that I learned how to slow down and say thank y'all so much and give other people the spotlight. And that was my hardest lesson, how to get out that aggressive mentality, to stop, pause, and say thank you, because you're not going to get successful without saying thank you. It's two of the most powerful words on the planet, and you need it. You absolutely need it.
I love this one. This is Davian Smith. He's a member of our band. Really, he's one of our
Okay,
students doing our IT program now. So he'll graduate high school with IT certifications. Really looking at
nice.
app development and tech entrepreneurship. And he asked, if I wanted to get into the tech space, what is the area of AI I should focus on as I begin it?
So by the time you get into it, AGI, generative intelligence, will be here for sure. People are saying a couple of years from now, I don't believe that because I know what I can do with AI. I would tell you by November this year, we would be in AGI for sure. I would just tell you that.
Wow.
Inside that space, let's segment it even more. When you get into AI sentiment analysis, this is reading people's feelings and stuff. And I will put sentiment analysis over every single thing that you're doing, Mr. Tadavian, every single thing that you're doing. I would do that because sentiment means feelings. I would do that because you can design anything. That means you could design a video game that adapts to people's feelings. And so that game would get harder if the person feels it's too easy, or that game would get easier if the person feels that level is too hard, right? If you lose against a boss battle 18 times, then maybe they can get easy. All these things, because what ends up happening is you end up having a reactive system. So I would get into sentiment analysis for sure. And then I would get into AI security. 100%. I would find a way to create adaptive AI security that. Oh, one more. Then I would get into AI loan. I would find a bank. I'm actually working on this right now, so I give it to you right now. I would find banks and do their loan departments, because that's the only way banks make money, is to give out loans. And I would automate 100% that process so banks could give out 90% more loans, but with also keeping their human staff. That's what I would do.
Wow. And I agree about the security, because the next multi-million dollar tech deal is going to be made on a cybersecurity program. This is Herbert
For sure.
Carmichael, also one of our IT students, and he asked, what is the best program and best way to learn to make AI?
ChatGPT, like literally use AI to ask AI, like 100%. This is what you can do. It takes I speak 5 languages. Well, if you come on computer programming languages, I speak way too many languages, but I speak 5 languages. The Army taught me off the other 4 for sure, because so my background in military is an intelligence analyst. I was military intelligence. The rest is all top secret, so I'll leave that out of this conversation. But so I was special operations intelligence sergeant. So it takes about 880 hours to learn a new language. Don't have to though. If you put yourself in total immersion, you can decrease that 880 hours to 100 hours. So right now, go to ChatGPT, Grok, or whatever you use, and say, hey, a smart guy said it takes 880 hours to learn a language. Let's do total immersion of skill acquisition and reduce this to 100. Give me a daily routine to do this. And bam. So you can use ChatGPT right now to learn any skill set that you have. Take it from 800 to 100, 100 hours. That means in 30 days, you'll be the leader in this industry.
Wow. This is Tyler Myers, one of our football players, and he asked, "What is the biggest challenges you have faced in integrating AI into your business, and how have you overcome those?"
So the first thing I had to do, well, to answer the question, the biggest challenge of integrating the AI was moving at the speed of my friends. I had to, this is, oh my God, I'm so sorry that I had to bring this up, but I had to recognize that I think faster, smarter, not smarter, but I think faster. I move harder and more aggressively than my friends. And my friends wanted to be, they want security. I don't care about security. As a matter of fact, I would think massive income is security, not someone employing me, right? But that's why I'm the CEO and they're not. So what I had to do, the hardest thing I had to overcome with integrating AI into all my companies was recognizing that my friends were perfect and holy and acceptable as they were, and recognize that I needed to release a level of them so I can do what I needed to do. That doesn't mean that me and my friends are not friends. We're very good friends. It just means that when someone in a job this way, one wanted to go do this that way, I had to let them go so I can automate and do everything that I did. And while that does not sound like it makes sense, it makes 100% sense because now, well, I'm sitting at a super successful company, but I couldn't do it when I tried to integrate all the AI before it was cool with them because they didn't understand what it was. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is do not move at the people of the speed who don't understand your vision. You have to move at the speed of your vision. Love them, but do not unlove yourself to where you slow yourself down to move at the pace of your friends. Don't do that.
Awesome. I got two more. This is Shavaka Page. He's also one of our IT students. He
Uh,
asked,
I lost
"What
your
is
audio.
what'd you say?"
Okay, got you. I got you now.
Okay. This is Shavaka Page. He's another one of our IT students, and he asked, "What is it that keeps you focused and motivated along your journey?"
What keeps me focused? Okay, so yeah, this is I believe every human needs an unsolvable problem. That means like I'm not if everything I all my companies change the world from regenerative agriculture. We got 52 harvests left on the planet. Won't get into that and bore you out, but I don't I don't use my genius to get people to like and share and subscribe. Like that's me being a YouTube influencer would just I would die. I'd rather be dead. I'd rather be dead than get on Instagram and say, hey, like, hey guys, my name is Antonio T. Smith Jr. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I would rather die than do that because my brain it works bigger and farther than that. So I'm not motivated to get out of bed to say like, share, and subscribe. I'm motivated to create. Here's a top secret project I'm working on. I'll say here on Mr. Greg Steve. I'm currently building a quantum. It's called QBI. I'll say the nerd stuff, but I'm working on a quantum consciousness interface that sits inside the brain and helps people with Down syndrome, helps people
Oh,
with
wow.
Parkinson's disease, helps people with, right. Like these are impossible tasks. So every day I get up and I get punched in the face by an impossible task, but it lights me on fire because I hate losing, right? But I respect losing, but I hate losing at the same time. So I get up at an impossible task, and I think every human has to do that. So for me, what motivates me is changing the world, doing these impossible tasks, having people with Parkinson's, not have Parkinson's, have people with Alzheimer's, your grandmother not forget anymore. That lights me on fire.
Wow.
But you got to find your own thing, right? Whatever lights your blood on fire, follow that thing. Now, careful now, just because you follow your bliss, doesn't mean you're going to make money. So don't be afraid to do something on the side, like get people to like, share, and subscribe to fund, right? You following your dreams. Don't be afraid to do that.
Awesome. All right. And that's a good segue to this final question. This is Cameron Sutton. And he asked, "What made you choose this type of business as opposed to other ones when you wanted to be an entrepreneur?"
So when I was a kid, I'm actually following my dream. I'm one of the only people I know that follow my dream. I only wanted to be two things when I was in kindergarten: a firefighter and a businessman. And in 2009, I did the whole firefighter thing. I was out the military about 4 years. I went tried out for firefighter and became a firefighter. And when I became a firefighter, took the test and all this stuff, I actually broke the record for the agility thing. But then somebody came behind me and broke it. It got broke like 3 times that day. So much for. But I broke it for like 30 seconds. I broke it for like 30 seconds. So I did that, and I just fell back on my dreams. I've always wanted to be a businessman. So for me, my business has changed 5 times, but it's the same business. I started my business in 1996. I'm actually a lot older than what I look. 1996, I was 14 years old, so I'm 43 if you're doing the math. And it was a record company because I was a recording label. It's a golden age of rap, right? So of course I started a recording label because I'm a black kid in America. Why would I not be listening to Tupac and start a recording label, right? Of course I did. But I took that. My goal was to make my friends rich, and I was a good writer. Then that shifted into okay, then that record company became a Christian record company, and I started doing Christian music called Without an Umbrella Records. It was Paper Chaser Records to Without an Umbrella Records. I wanted to teach people how to walk in the rain without an umbrella. So notice I went from let's get this money to let's get this peace and security because I evolved. And then it went from Paper Chaser Records to ATS Company, to where I started teaching people how I became a millionaire. I just started backwards teaching that. And then now it's Density 6. It's the same company. It's just as I evolved as a person, my business evolved. When I learned how to do AI, my business became AI. When I was rapping, my business was a rapper, right? So that's how it happened. And I do suggest that for all of you, don't try to be anybody else. That's something I've never had to try to do. Peer pressure is just you trying to be like other people. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about peer pressure. I'm not saying it don't exist. It obviously sucks. It really does. And that's a technical term. It sucks. But you are always going to find your path being you, and nobody can speak with your voice but you. My business changed because I changed, but it's the same business.
Love it. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But a couple of things before we go.
Appreciate you.
First of all,
Sure.
mexitnews.com, mexitnews.com is your website. A lot of cool articles on there, a lot of
Appreciate you.
things about what you're doing.
Yes. So it's Mexit stands for middle class exit. One of my life's purposes is to get the poor and the middle class out of being poor and middle and to getting the wealthy. And so it's news without politics because who cares about politics, right? Nobody cares about politics. Now, of course, we got to pay attention to politics, but we need a place that you need a news company that's tell you what to do with a house, how to fix and flip, how to hold, how to buy 150 apartment complexes without using your personal credit. But I'm doing that right now. How, what's the DSCR loan? Debt service coverage ratio, to where you can buy a fourplex, use the debt service coverage ratio off of that, the three doors of that fourplex, to then turn around and let you borrow against that as income, and then get a fourplex for free. This is what you could do, and this is what that news company does. Teaches the Christopher Mitchells, the Tadavian Smiths. Let me see if I got this right. The Edward Flowers, the I think you said Herbert Carmichael, the Tyler Myers, and the Cameron Suttons. I hope I'm right. Right. Teaching all
Dang.
these people,
Wow, that's
teaching
impressive.
all these people how to get that done. Yeah, for
And
sure.
also density6.com. I know it's under construction, but density6.com shows a
It's
lot of.
it's it's purposely like that. It's purposely like that because I don't want anybody to see what we're doing. It's purposely like that. Yeah, it looks like
I
it's under
got you. I
construction on
got you. That's
purpose.
cool.
Yeah,
Now, the
yeah.
last thing before we go, and I know we
Sure.
mentioned this, and I just think it's such an important topic that we can't talk about enough. Obviously, I mentioned we have all young men in here with me right now,
Mm-hmm.
and all in 10th grade, 15, 16, 17 years old. A lot of talent, a lot of intelligence, a
Yeah,
lot of great ideas in this room. But it's so important for them to understand we need more successful black men in our community. So why are they so
fair enough.
needed to be successful as future young black business owners?
You're needed. You're needed because representation matters. You're needed because we need to stop leaving the hood and buy out the hood, buy it back. You're needed because there's no such thing as a black community. A black community is a white community that is populated by black people, that you drive on white streets and have white police officers in a white police department. There's no such thing as a black neighborhood. We populate other people's neighborhoods and make them wealthy. So you're needed because of these things. And that's just the way it is until you change it. And I can't know how good God is or whatever you believe in until you show me. Until you show me how good it is, I can't know. So I need you to go inside of you and show me what your scriptures look like. Show me what your Quran looks like. Show me what your spirituality looks like. Show me that your mom believes in you. Do something about it, because a good tree is always going to bear good fruit. So if you don't have good fruit, two things are true. Got to pick one. One, ain't your time yet. Your fruit's still in the ground. Or two, you're not a good tree like you think you are. Change your seeds, you'll change your harvest. There you go.
Love it. Well, again, we thank you so much for taking some time for us. Antonio Smith, all the way from Houston, Texas, founder of Density 6
Thank you.
and MexitNews.com. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Greg. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all.
I talk to you soon, buddy.